Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Look, if you've been on the job hunt recently, you already know the landscape has completely shifted. The old traditional advice, it just doesn't cut it anymore. Okay, let's dive into this. Today, we're unpacking the realities of the 2026 job market. And specifically, we're looking at a concept that is literally making or breaking careers right now, the two-layer hiring funnel. We've all been there, right? You spend hours tweaking your resume, you carefully upload the document, you hit submit with your fingers crossed, and then absolute silence, just crickets. Why are your job applications disappearing into a black hole? It is incredibly frustrating, but I really want to validate what you're experiencing right now. It is absolutely not in your head, and it's almost certainly not because you lack the skills. The whole system has changed, putting up this invisible wall between you and the hiring manager. To really understand that wall, consider this one staggering number, 98%. According to LinkedIn's 2025 Talent Trends report, 98% of Fortune 500 companies and 75% of mid-sized companies are now using applicant tracking systems, or ATS. That is a massive majority. The days of a human being opening every single email or envelope to read a resume, yeah, those are officially over. And hey, it's absolutely crucial to understand that this isn't just an isolated corporate trend in one part of the world. Global adoption is surging everywhere. The data shows us that in Nigeria, for example, ATS adoption among multinationals and large corporations in sectors like banking, telecom, and tech has already hit 60 to 70%. The undeniable gold standard rule for the 2026 job market is simply this. For literally any role getting more than 50 applications, you just have to assume an ATS is in the pipeline. It's an inescapable reality. So how on earth do you navigate a system that's literally designed to filter you out? Well, you have to realize that the modern hiring process operates in two very distinct phases, which require two entirely different strategies. It's a two-layer hiring funnel. Step one is the algorithmic gate, and step two is the human review. You've got to conquer both of these gatekeepers in that exact order to even land an interview. Let's tackle that first massive hurdle. Phase one, the algorithmic gate. Before a human being ever reads a single word of your resume, an AI-powered applicant tracking system has already scanned it. These platforms instantly process your document, they score your application directly against the job description, and then they rank you by a relevance score. It is a cold, calculating, and nearly instantaneous process. It's essentially the ultimate robotic bouncer standing at the door of your dream job. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is exactly what the rigid brain of the ATS is actually programmed to filter out. It is hunting for exact and near-exact keyword matches from the job post. It's verifying skills alignment, checking if your previous job titles logically lead into this new role, and actively flagging whether you meet the education requirements. It even looks for employment gaps. Oh, and it strictly checks format compatibility. If you try to use complex tables, columns, or fancy graphics, the parsing engine might literally scramble your text and automatically disqualify you. And because of those rigid, completely uncompromising filters, the applicant pool is decimated instantly. Typically, only the top 10 to 20% of applications actually survive this algorithmic call to even be presented to a human. The rest, up to 90% of applicants, are filtered out automatically, often within mere seconds of hitting that submit button. No way around it. But let's say you pass the robot. Now we shift gears entirely into phase two, the human review. You might think you can finally breathe a sigh of relief here, but I want this data point to act as a serious wake-up call. 6 to 10 seconds. That is the tiny, fleeting window of time a severely time-strapped recruiter or hiring manager is going to spend on an initial scan of your resume. You survived the unfeeling AI, sure, but now you have to capture a highly distracted human's attention in a fraction of a minute. In those frantic 6 to 10 seconds, the human reviewer isn't sitting there calculating your exact keyword density. To win this phase, your resume has to be immediately legible, professionally structured, and visually clear. They are desperately looking for a compelling narrative flow and an instant visual appeal that just screams, yes, this person is the exact right fit. And this brings us to a massive dilemma, what we call the ultimate resume paradox. Winning phase one requires high keyword density and rigid, easily parsable formatting so the machine can read it without glitching. But winning phase two, that requires a compelling narrative flow, a real human voice, and strong visual appeal. The paradox here is that the exact strategies that beat the robot often look terrible, clunky, and completely unnatural to the human. So, how do we actually solve this paradox without spending 40 hours a week rewriting our resumes? That brings us to your 2026 AI optimization advantage. And this brilliantly illustrates the massive time-saving advantage of modern job hunting. Before these new AI tools hit the scene, manually customizing a resume for each individual job description, trying to satisfy both the ATS and the human, took 2 to 3 exhausting hours per application. Today, in 2026, AI tools let you generate a fully optimized application in just 15 to 20 minutes. It's a complete game changer. Here is exactly how AI bridges that gap to optimize for both of those gatekeepers simultaneously. These tools analyze the job description, pull out the highest weighted keywords, and then score your current resume against them. They literally tell you exactly what to add, where to put it, and how to phrase it so it still reads naturally to a human being. The source material for today specifically points out powerful tools like JobScan, Teal, and Yotru. These platforms let you seamlessly optimize for the algorithm while keeping your professional narrative totally intact. So, the playing field is finally leveling out, but honestly, only for the folks who actually adapt. Candidates who are jumping in and utilizing these modern AI tools now have a decisive, measurable edge over anyone still relying on the old manual methods. You don't have to guess what the ATS wants anymore. You have the cheat sheet. And better yet, you have the time to apply to way more roles, much more effectively. The hiring gatekeepers have absolutely evolved, for sure. They're faster, they're more rigid, and they're strictly guarded by algorithms. But now that you clearly understand this two-layer funnel and you know how to use the AI key to optimize for both the machine and the human, what is stopping you from bypassing that black hole entirely? Take these tools, overhaul your strategy, and go conquer that 2026 job market. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll see you next time.